So I think some of the other Eliana mains have been playing around more with the new characters. For example, we've seen the Tumor play a lot with Palm. We've seen Genova play a lot with Malo.
Yeah, that's true, that's true. I guess Eliana really is kind of just like tapering off a little bit in terms of like popularity.
Maybe a little bit.
No, I mean, we still have some people riding the character pretty loyally. Like, I think Sparks still, when he does play the game, he still does play Eliana a good bit. But we've seen him also like switch to other characters like Maple, and I think even the Crag has made like its own occasional rare appearance.
I think when Eliana sort of had her rise in the metagame, she was considered a much cooler character.
Yeah, people were still figuring stuff out back then.
Yeah, like at that point, the optimizations you could do with Eliana were sick because they were novel. They were so different from anything that anyone in the cast could do. But as Eliana's punish game got refined more and more and more, I think public opinion about Eliana started trending downward. And I think, you know, realistically, if you're a new player in the game, you're more likely to pick a character that players think is cool. So I think that probably has some effect in terms of Eliana's place in the metagame right now.
That can be the case, yeah. I know some people are not a huge fan of Eliana, but you know, a lot of people have, at least on like the upper echelon of players, like usually just wind up like adapting to how you need to play neutral with XYZ character. Because a lot of characters just need to play neutral a certain way in order to really get around a lot of the stuff that Eliana can do. But I believe that is, I think that's Archytas, a very well-known member of the workshop community, consistent modern. I believe someone that recently got picked up by the Rivals dev team themselves to work on future games.
That is very, very cool.
I believe that is the case. We're going to see, going into game 1 on Tower of Heaven, Jamper versus Archytas.
All right, we have the Clarion coming out.
This matchup seems pretty explosive and dangerous for a character like Clarion with such an exploitable recovery.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Clarion is a character that has traditionally kind of struggled a bit with some of the heavier characters in the game.
Okay.
Clarion, I mean, certainly has her fair share of kill confirms, but they could be a little less reliable than some of the other members of the cast. She's a little more dependent on spacing her moves perfectly to be able to set up those tippers.
Ooh, yeah.
Whereas like some of the heavies that Clarion has to fight against have more robustness built in when it comes to capitalizing off their openings. And even though Clarion has such safe ways of keeping space in neutral, playing that playstyle for that long a period of time can be very stressful, can be very hard.
Yeah, especially when someone is keeping their approach options very mixed up like we're seeing right now. Using a good bit of missile to poke, using good down airs, using good nairs. A little greedy on that up tilt, but, you know, never a bad thing. Yeah, Ellie up tilt, the reward on that if you do land it is massive, as everyone might know.
And frankly, if you whiff it, you're still Eliana. Like, you can afford to tank a few hits usually.
Yeah, and just like that, that strong nair is going to send out, and we are going to see a three stocks to 1 right now for Archytas in game 1. That is... I'm not too surprised. Archytas very good, but Jamper keeping things a little bit alive. Just trying to get in right now, which is really tough against a character like Ellie. Like this steam usage right now is actually something that we really don't see from a lot of Ellie players.
Yeah, the steam is completely shutting down Clarion here, looking very, very difficult. Every time Clarion tries to make it back, Archytas has an answer. This is just a very extended rinse and repeat. But at the end of the day, Jamper has made it back. He's back in control of the neutral game. And has Eliana off stage.
Oh, doesn't get the tipper fair too. That's unfortunate.
Oh, Mind Punish?
Gets the remind, but Force Field coming out. That's one thing that Clarion has in this matchup that is huge and really important to use in general.
And it does make putting out the steam a whole lot riskier.
Yeah, it really does. But when you're in overheat, you don't get steam. You get smash attacks.
That's true.
Going to be a 3-stock for Archytas in game 1. Oh.
Yeah, because usually that no fun zone is... It's often a read, or it often requires you to like at least position yourself a certain way. But with Steam, you have so much time to react, right? You have the entire duration of it to react to get your no fun zone in play.
You could literally, you could just like slide right in with it.
Yeah.
Also, they're opting to do 3 bans. With the new rule set that we've done with Rivals, we normally do 4 bans for best of 3, so that is something that I know a lot of people in the community are still kind of getting used to because we're not used to having such large uses of 4 bans.
Yeah, it's definitely a change. And I'm not, to some extent, folks might not even be like, may not even be aware of the rule change.
Yeah, I mean,
if they haven't been to an offline Rivals tournament in a while.
Yeah, I was gonna say I certainly wasn't. I played most of my doubles set being 3 bans, and apparently that rule also applies to doubles. But the one rule that applies to anyone fighting Ellie is missile nair will come for you.
Yeah,
whether
absolutely.
whether you want it to or not.
Archytas is really pushing the punish game with this character right now. Really exemplifying the zero to depth nature of Eliana.
Yeah, even in like small little neutral wins, like the resets here, the reminds are always huge to get because it puts your opponent back in that state of like, do I start parrying more? I'm a little scared. Something's happening. I'm on my last Jamper on their last Soccer game 2 right now.
Oh, getting the steam in play once again, sitting at 3 stocks to 1.
Oh,
This is looking very hard.
Yeah. Oh, but gets back into neutral. That's like the big thing is that like we've seen Archytas just pushing like so much advantage today, not giving Jamper any room to breathe.
Yeah, and it feels like Jamper is not really succeeding at keeping Archytas out. Archytas is almost like approaching Claren like Ellie's a rushdown character.
Yeah, I was gonna say Archie is using a pretty good use of like missiles just to kind of zone them, push their way in, like just bit by bit. Oh no! Oh,
Ooh, is that it? No, not quite.
Almost. One more chance.
That is
yeah,
the
that's
set.
gonna do it. The forward smash. Yeah, Claren's recovery is super exploitable. Like even if you do tech there, it's just another rough spot after another. Because if you side B, they can drip back and forward smash you. If you up B again, you might just not be plus enough to really even get something off of that.
Some characters, I think, deal with the mix-ups better than others, but Eliana does seem like a very good candidate there. I mean, I think a lot of edgeguarding Claren, or in terms of being a character that can edgeguard Claren really well, comes down to, do you have a good tool for challenging the up B hitbox?
Yeah.
And Eliana has the drift built in, which is actually really good for punishing the drift mix-ups that are built into the up B. So, like, if Claren goes for a high up B, you may not be